the trigger is there because how our brain works is that memory is really linked to an emotion. And if you think about, if we were going to say, hey, describe the most like mundane, uneventful experience that you had, is like, I don't really have access to that. Well, because our memory is triggered by emotion.
Yes. Oh, that's a good point. Really good point.
So when a trigger happens, it isn't even necessarily about the subject or the event. It's that has now reminded us of a previous event, likely unrepaired, and now all of my past emotion is coming with me. And so, as we know, it's you're not ever experiencing the past; you're always experiencing it in the now. So we, in a very real way, we're experiencing the same emotion we had or very similar in the past. And we say like, oh, don't talk about the past. Like, why are you always going back in the past? It's like, well, no, that memory is bringing this emotion and I'm actually reliving that emotion now. So it's in a very real way happening in the present. So but the whole sort of negative cycle about triggers, and one of the things to get, I think for all of us, we're going to get triggered. We're going to trigger our partner. We're going to get triggered. There's going to be conversations that we didn't think to repair. So unrelated things are going to bring up these emotions for us. But again, that could keep it as a disagreement. That could keep it as a conversation that has emotion with it. But the problem is the triggered behavior that's unconscious. Because now from that emotion, I now just react with, again, attack, defensiveness, criticism, withdraw, shutdown, belittling. And that is the main problem because that's what takes us off into a bigger conflict.
So you talk about on page 68, you talk about, you say you talk about a pattern interrupt. And then you say what this means is you have to put something in place that breaks the cycle and keeps you from automatically and by default going into your triggered behavior. So is this pattern interrupt? Is this where the code word comes in? What do you mean by pattern interrupt? When I am triggered, give me an example of a pattern interrupt.
And yeah, this is, something that's been around, whether in like NLP, neuro linguistic programming. It's really that our brains are running this program, right? So it's if I have this triggered emotion, which is triggering fear or abandonment in me, it's like the brain gets hijacked from a part called like the amygdala. And so we just run this survival program. So the survival program is that's my reaction. So what I need to do is to be able to create a gap so that my brain thinks like, oh, wait, I experienced being abandoned. And where I would normally run the program, all of a sudden I have a space. So your brain thinks to itself, oh, this must be different than when I normally just run the same program. And so you do get like a little bit of a gap there where you have the opportunity to insert something to where now your brain's like, oh, this must be a different circumstance than all those other ones. So to your point, there's various things, and I'm not like the expert on NLP for instance, but yeah, you could just come up with a code word or a code phrase, and sometimes we use one that's like totally unrelated so that you add a little bit of humor. So we've just said like blueberries, or more realistically, you could say, hey, same team, same team. And so long as that can be a pattern interrupt to your brain to not just run the same program, that's ideally what you're looking to try to do.
Okay, so you bring up another point. So let's say I'm triggered. Let's say my wife says something and now she's triggered me. She can tell clearly by my body language and my emotion I'm triggered. Is she the one, we call it a safe word, is she the one that brings the safe word or the code word to me, or do I interrupt my own pattern? Or does that pattern interrupt come from her to me? Because she's already triggered me. So if she uses a code word, is that going to make it worse? Or how does that work for you guys?
I see you have all the football helmets back there. So this is definitely where it's a team game. The first part is we want to be personally responsible for our own triggered behaviors. So whether it's just like ongoingly or, the personal work that I'm doing, there's also an opportunity here to have really good conversations with your partner to say, hey, this is going to be a safe place. This is a conversation that we can really get better at. I want to be more connected. I want to work on our responses with each other. So, hey, let's sit down. What are some of the things that you notice are the biggest triggers for you? And you can just really start to get more of this self awareness. And I know one of them for me was, if there was any swear word used throughout, it like really would escalate me. And I'm like, this is not acceptable. So it would kind of escalate me. So I want to be aware of my own triggers so that I can be more on top of when they show up. And I want to be responsible for trying to interrupt them myself. And so, yeah, maybe I say that code word to myself, or maybe I say it out loud. If we have agreed to it and my partner can then say it in the moment, yeah, that would be a good use of it. Now, one thing I'll just mention on here, agreements, specifically for agreements in times of conflict. We could have this idea that we're going to use a word to remind each other. But if we don't have it solidified as I am completely on board with that, then in the moment when our partner says something like, hey, same team, or they try to get you to not escalate, you're going to feel like, don't tell me what to do. Don't control me. And so there's a small, slight difference, and that is that power of making an internal decision. If I've decided that for me, I am going to hold this standard of an agreement that when the code word is used, I'm going to link that to interrupting my pattern. Now, when I hear it, it is a reminder to something I've committed myself to, and my brain and my body will feel a lot different. If I've only complied, like, hey, let's have this agreement where we can remind each other to not escalate. Okay, sure. I will not have the same experience. I will feel like, hey, I'm the man, let's say, don't tell me what to do. You caused
Yeah.
this. And I'm just going to get all defensive.